Okay.
Tell me when. I'll press it on.
Okay. Hey, good morning. I know. How's everyone doing today? Welcome back. It's great to be here on this Sunday. So I hope that the camera is the right view. Oh, just a moment. Okay. Give us a moment. I have a new microphone that we're about to put on. Okay. Wait a second. Okay. Okay. There we go. Good. Sorry for that. I'm back, and sound should be working great now. We have a brand new microphone, and the view should be correct. So let's all take a big breath in and a big breath out. Nice to see everybody. I know some of you are there. I want to remind you at the beginning, have all of the props that you need nearby. If you have a blanket or a bolster, that's fantastic, or blocks. Blankets are great. Whatever you need. I'm also, if you have a journal, I wrote about this, bring a journal and pen. Hopefully you'll get some time at the end to reflect. And that's really what today is about. I also want to say that if you are having trouble hearing, some people do, some people don't, headphones or the AirPods work really great. So that's all the technical and the important to-dos, all right? So today, what I really want to talk about and look at in our practice is about listening deeply. Because I think it's important always, but particularly now as we're going through this uncertain time, how long will this last, what's going to happen, it brings up a lot for many of us in many different ways. And I wanted to say that personally, and I know for many of us, we have a life that this is an inconvenience, but truthfully, I'm healthy, I'm well, I live in a beautiful place, I have all my needs met. It's not so for everybody, and I'm feeling inside myself that, and there's a part of me that says, what can I do? And I can contribute where I can do prayers, but I'm aware that not everyone has the luxury, excuse me, that we all do. But we do have this, and so it is a time of healing, both personally and globally for our planet. And so many of us have lived a life where we say, I'm so busy, I'll get to that when I have more time. And so now's the time. We've been asked to stop, stay home. So now's the time, right? And it's time to listen. The listening really asks, what is it that needs healing? What is it that I can transform as I step back into the world and back into my life, not in the old way or normal way. I don't know what that means anyway, but every moment's a new normal. And this is a moment of, in some way, trauma or chaos. And so we ask, what in me can be transformed in the big and small ways? I was listening to Carolyn Meese, and she spoke about personal transformation. She said is really the sacred topic that we should be talking about at length. Personal transformation. She said this experience that we're sharing has the elements of that larger context of mystical transformation. First, the nature of a sacred journey that we never get to decide when it's going to start, how it's going to start, or what will be asked of us. We never get to make that decision. It simply ignites. And the second thing is that we never get to choose the components. They just arise out of the setting of our lives. So things happen. and things arise out of our lives, but then how are we going to manage that, right? The third is transformation accompanies some kind of trauma, and there is something that has to be changed. And so this situation, it is a trauma. It is a trauma for everyone, for the planet. It's also can be for the good. We're already seeing the good that's happening. So I think, and she agrees that we have to go deep in and ask, what is within me that I need to transform? What is the person I need to be as I go forward in the rest of my life? And it seems that that whole idea of transformation is showing up for me, and also the idea of patience, and that's what happens. Norman Fisher, who I spoke about this week, is a Zen teacher, and he says that the perfection of patience is transformative. It transforms difficult circumstances from misfortunes or disasters into spiritual benefit. And so I think patience, I know I've been asked, this patience is showing up a lot for me in small ways, but I know it's showing up for all of us and for many who are just, restless to go back. And so what is that to go back to? And that's the inquiry. So that's what we'll be exploring today. And I'll share more of some of the teachings that have been inspiring me. All right. So please take your seat, comfortable. Sit on a cushion or a blanket. Yeah, and take a few moments and check in to feel where you are. We'll sit for just a minute or so to feel into ourselves, and then we'll move into a yin pose and then take a longer sit. So as you find your seat, just without doing anything, just take your seat. Just take a few long breaths. And sometimes that's all it takes, is just a few breaths to land right here in the center of you. And then gently let the eyes open and take in the world around you. And let's move into a pose that will prepare the body for a little bit of a longer sit. And I recommend, if you have a blanket, you might like to open it wide and spread it across your mat. And then come on to your hands and knees. And then spread the knees wide. Bring your toes towards each other. And then press your buttocks back towards your heels. And keep a little press in your hands so the weight goes back in your hip. Right? Now, if it's not appropriate to be on your knees, come on your back and just draw your knees in and open them wide. And then come down onto your forearms if that works. Again, press into the elbows so the weight goes back in your hips. And decide if you're supporting your head with your hands on your chin or making a little hands in prayer for your forehead. Or spread the elbows wide and rest your head down. And meet yourself here. So we take ourselves to that appropriate edge, appropriate means any more would feel too much, any less not enough. Staying in these poses really asks us to practice patience. In the moment of an edge, can I breathe and can I relax? So we first meet the appropriate edge, and then we scan around in the body so that the muscles are passive. So that means there's not an add-on of extra tension. So scan your awareness around. And it's a wonderful inquiry. Where am I holding where I don't need to? Where can I let go of? And then we stay a while. And our breath can become our companion. So let your breath grow smooth and long. Deepen the breath. And by being in the body and the breath, we get to see in this way, we've given it a place to focus and rest. So in this way, we can see when the mind calls us away. If there's a restless energy, there's a joyful energy. So each time we enter any moment, but in these poses where we're staying with longer holdings, it really is time to just breathe and feel into what's happening and listen deeply. When we listen, it's, do I need more or do I need less? Can I stay present? Do I notice if this moment feels difficult? And can I just name things? Remember, the difficult moments can be the move from the challenges to great benefit for us. He continues to say that difficult times are the most fruitful time for spiritual practice because they're exactly when the practice of patience comes most into play. It's quite natural to turn away when things feel difficult. But with the practice of patience, we train ourselves to turn toward the challenge, the difficult, and embrace it as an ally. Norman Fisher says we all need and want love. We all know that love lies at the center of who we are as human beings. So taking one or two more breaths here. And to release, come forward onto your hands and knees. Draw your knees in and come back into child. Or draw your knees into your chest. And pause and feel the effect of being there in that way, of paying attention, of breathing. Over the next few moments, please find your way up to sitting and come to sit at the edge of your blanket or your cushion. And just gently draw the fleshy part of the buttocks back and get rooted and grow long. Let your hands rest on your lap, palms down or palms up, on your knees or sitting in your own lap, holding your own hand. And as you close the eyes, feel where you are now. Every action has a result. Once again, take a few moments to scan through the physical, and you just notice the moment. Places that are open or closed, and feel the quality of breath and the energy. Sometimes deep, sometimes shallow. Sometimes energy feels really alive or low. And notice the quality of the mind and heart this morning. And then I invite you, as I do every day, to take refuge. And really the knowing that there is a place to take refuge right here in our own awakened heart. A place that is already awake and free. It really is love itself. So I remind myself, from now until I fully awaken, I vow to take refuge in loving awareness. You pause a moment to touch that place, that knowing of who you are, loving awareness. Because we are human and we stumble and we fall, remind ourselves, I vow to take refuge in the path of loving awareness, the road that leads me home. And again, we remember that we're human, right? And so we take refuge in these practices and teachings that point us back, right back to who we are. And living as communal beings, we need each other, we need others. We remember that I vow to take refuge in the Sangha, my teachers, my friends, my spiritual family, those who aspire to live awake and free. And in these few moments, I just feel into my heart all of you and all of my loved ones and my teachers, some in this life and some beyond. How we hold each other up. And now begin to invite the breath, to bring awareness to breath. Notice the natural rhythm of your breath. And begin now to let the breath grow deep and full, filling the belly and the ribs, and inviting it to fill all the way to the collarbones, full breath. And as you reach the top, let it turn around and relax fully. Take a few long breaths in that way. And let your awareness follow the breath as it fills the body and anchors the mind. And the next time you inhale all the way to the top, pause at the top for a few moments. And then gently release all the way out. And there might become a natural pause there. And then when you're ready, take the next breath in. Pause at the top. And gently release again all the way out. Do it in that way one more time. And as you sit now and the breath releases, just come to your natural rhythm. And as you sit peacefully, as you assume the natural peace and ease that is the body mind's natural peace and ease. And as you sit there, pay attention. Just pay attention to your body. And pay attention to your breath without creating it in any way, just the in and out as your belly rises and falls. And now rest primarily in each exhale in the belly. So let that keep calling you back, right? Just that exhale, that soft exhale. And notice any physical sensations that are uncomfortable or comfortable, or uncomfortable or unpleasant. But even if you notice an unpleasant moment, don't try to fix it. Don't try to adjust or make that go away or occur in any other way. Just be aware of them. Oh, there's discomfort here. And you just feel that. Be aware of them, explore them, and continue to breathe. And then just notice, see if they change over time. If you can just bring patience to the moment. You might like to note, as anything arises, it's like this. It's like this. Let's sit like that for just a few minutes. So as you hear the sound of the bell, just let it bring your awareness back here in the body. And just notice now how you feel as a result of sitting, simply being and breathing, and noticing if any of the places that were uncomfortable may have changed. Just notice your now experience. And please bring your hands in prayer to your own heart. Gently bow in honoring of that place that is awake and whole. Jai Bhagwan, Namaste. Thank you. So as we move into the yin practice today, I want to just remind us, for many of us it's a reminder, for some of us it's new, but about the Ujjayi breath. It's a wonderful breath, and it's a breath that helps you to control the rhythm of your breath, slow the rhythm of your breath, and it turns our attention inward. So let's just play a little bit. So this breath happens in the back of the throat. So let's begin and just imagine that you're fogging up the back of the mirror as you open your mouth. Imagine you're fogging that mirror up in the back of your head. And as you exhale, the mirror in front. So just do that a few times with your mouth open. And you can feel the little contraction in the back of your throat as you do that. And the next time, close your mouth and continue as if you're breathing through the back of your throat. Quite naturally, it goes through the nostrils, but you're not as if you're breathing there. And you'll hear a little sound. It's called a sonorous sound, or we like to call it an ocean sound. You might even hear my breathing. And you can notice that you can slow the breath down with that little contraction. Right. And then just let that go for a moment. And again, notice the quality inside you. And let's move into our next pose. So come to the edge. I'll just turn sideways so you can see me a little better. Come to sit at the edge of your cushion or blanket. This is a great pose after sitting because it helps to decompress the spine. Slide your feet away so that there's a little diamond shape here, right? And you just gently tip your hips a little bit and allow your spine to gently round. So we're not lengthening the spine because we're engaging muscles then. So the muscles are passive, so just let them round. And you go where your body goes. Right? Now, you might like a bolster or a blanket or even a block to help support the head. You can be up higher or lower, wherever your body goes, right? You can make little fists with your hand to support the head. Sometimes I just rest my elbows on my shins and use my hands. It's kind of nice to have this block here as an added help. And when you find your place, you pause there, you stay there. Remember, again, we take those tenets with us in every pose. So we notice when we meet our first edge. We stop, we breathe, we relax. You know, if we go too far, it becomes really a bit too much. And we've noticed we're a little overzealous, right? We haven't done enough. We feel there's no edge at all. So we explore. Some of us like to hang back. Some of us like to go forward. And it's a good practice to do things a little differently, right? Then you scan around again. You notice where there's tension. You breathe, you relax. But you're also paying attention to the mind and the heart and what arises. As you stay here, we're inviting that quality of patience and tolerance for all that is here in this body, here in this mind and heart. And as you're there, I want to share with you another teaching that came across to me. It was from Swami Kripalu, affectionately known as Babaji. And he says, today I will discuss the spiritual practice known as patience. Patience is defined as the steadiness or firmness which prevents mental disturbance despite the presence of innumerable causes of distractions. That sounds like our everyday life, right? When the mind abandons patience, he says, it becomes completely restless. And then we're caught, as I'm saying now, in this state of restlessness, agitation. Restlessness is the greatest obstacle to patience. But he says the root of patience is knowledge and tolerance. So we're growing in tolerance here in our practice, which can translate to our lives. While the root of restlessness is hatred, faithlessness, ignorance, and intolerance. And I love this next line. Patience has the seed of love at its root. For without love, the seed of patience would not sprout. Love begets knowledge, and knowledge begets patience. Those who are successful in any undertaking seek refuge in patience. We can say that the basis of patience is true knowledge or the divine eye of love. And I love that. Patience has the seed of love at its root. So in these last few moments, let your breath deepen and let the body drop into where it can. And to release, bring your hands to the floor. Let the spine come to center. Bring your hands behind you and lean back. Let your legs fall out. Pause a moment and feel what you feel. Even sink into those shoulders. If the body feels taxed, you just take your breath and awareness there, not needing it to change, but to be present for it, just as we did at the beginning. It's like this. Now, if you would come back up, and let's come up onto our hands and knees. But this time, as you come into your hands and knees, have either a blanket or a cushion behind you. Okay, we'll need to sit back on it. And then have a block or a bolster in front of you, if you have them. Okay, these props will help. So as you're here, let's take the right foot over the left, cross it, and then spread your feet. Okay, so your knees are crossed, you spread your feet, and you come back to sit. For most of us, sitting on a cushion or blanket is really helpful, right? So we're hoping that the knees are somewhere over each other, but if there's big spaces, it's okay. You can either come up higher or put something between the legs. Now, if this is not appropriate for you, simply stretch out one leg and do a little forward fold that way, okay? Bring the other leg in. So from here, just as we did before, just a gentle hinge. And then you come forward. Now, this takes a lot of patience. I find this pose takes a lot of patience. I like to walk my hands on either side, but this is again one of those poses where Just that little press keeps the weight in the hips rather than coming into the knees, right? And then if you like, you can take a pillow or a bolster. Just start easy. And find your place to be, to explore, which is what we're doing. We're exploring. We're exploring what's happening in the body. You scan your awareness around. If there's places that are feeling a little uncomfortable, just be there. These moments are rich with potential to grow in tolerance, get bigger. I think of it as getting bigger. If I can be more tolerant, I have more space inside me for my own challenges, for others' challenges, for the world. And by, if the body opens a little more, you ease in a little more. Now remember that Ujjayi breath we just learned. So call on that Ujjayi breath now. And then begin to find the rhythm of that breath. So as you inhale, you just find its count, and you can do it by saying 1 Om, 2 Om, 3 Om. See where the inhale goes, and let the exhale match it. If it feels appropriate at the top, you can pause for a few moments, and then you let the breath go. Working with our breath is a very skillful, wise thing to do always, but it oxygenates the whole body, the organs, the blood. It calms the nervous system. It helps to alkalinize the body, which helps to strengthen an immune system. And nowadays, this is what we need to remember. How do I strengthen this immune system? Which means calm the mind, take care of this body, eat well, get enough sleep. Take a few more moments here. And to release, come, lift yourself up for a moment, roll it up, and then rock yourself forward, back onto all fours. Take one leg, release it, pause there for a moment and feel the effects. And then take your left leg across your right, take those feet wide. So now the knees are right crossed over, and then you press it back. You rock a little bit, sit on what you need to so the body can be, aligned enough so you're not sinking back. And then gently come forward again on this side. And it takes patience, breath by breath and moment by moment to move in. It doesn't matter if it's right at the top. Whatsoever is here can we make space for. You watch how the mind goes away. When will this be over? When is it over? This is too much. And you watch that mind that is restless. You feel that restlessness. You remind yourself that you're safe, you're okay. If you need to do less, you do less. You're in charge here. Remember the ally of your breath. And ride on that wave for a little bit and notice how that draws your awareness, invites the body to relax, gives you a place to see clearly when you find yourself distracted from being right here, right now. The sensation, where you feel it, where you don't. What's needed now? Sometimes it's a little more, sometimes it's a little less. Sometimes it's a breath or a prayer for yourself. May I know ease right now. May I grow in tolerance right now. May I remember that this too shall pass. All conditions arise and pass. Everything in this body, mind, and heart, environment, this too shall pass. And right now, it's like this. So breath and body keep you here, and we remind ourselves we have what we need. In this last half minute, begin to visualize the breath. As you inhale, just bring it all the way down from the crown, all the way down to the roots. And as you exhale, visualize it going all the way up and out through the crown. Take another breath or two in that way. And to release, bring your hands to the floor, press yourself forward and release the legs. And again, press back into child or draw your knees into your chest if you're on your back. And pause there. If the body feels taxed, take your breath and awareness there. Over the next few moments, please come back up. And if you would, take your blanket or any blanket and create a fold it in half, and then again. And have it off to the side, and then come up back onto your backs. And as you come on your back, bring your feet to standing. Lift the back of your head, lengthen the neck a little bit. Let your head relax, and then release the head back down. Slide your shoulder blades down. And pause there. Let your sacrum be on the ground. And just feel the natural curves of your spine. Feel where you are now. We'll do a final pose, and we'll do a simple twist. So step into your feet, lift your hips and shift them over to the right. You'll be more on your left hip. And then just draw your knees in a little bit and take your blanket right in between your legs and drop your knees over to the left. Now take your right shoulder and roll that down to the earth. Your right arm can extend overhead. Your left hand can be on the outside of your right leg. So the knees are gently drawn to the left, and the belly, ribs, and chest roll to the right, and the head can roll to the right as well. And you find your simple knee down twist. Your head can roll or look straight up. Right there. Scan, relax. And be here with whatsoever is here. Let your Ujjayi breath be your companion. And know that just by putting this body into configuration, something's happening, right? The nadis and the meridians are being nourished. Energy is being asked to flow. This breath is a tangible source to mobilize the intangible energy or prana. Organs are being nourished. Muscles are relaxing. Connective tissues are being juiced. The mind is concentrating. And in that way, energy moves. And it gives us a place to watch the mind and feel into the heart and have space, grow in tolerance for all that's here, because it's like this. Life is like this, right here, right now. And we know that this too shall pass, whether it's a joy or a woe. It's the nature of all the conditions. Take another few moments here and just see if the knees want to come in a little closer. You want to twist in a little deeper just in this last breath or two. And then release. When you release, release the left hand. Bring your right knee up and your left. Step into your feet and shift your hips back to the center. And pause there for a moment. You might like to bring one hand on your belly and one on the heart. And feel into this moment just as it is. It's like this. And then I'm sure you've taken the blanket out. Lift and shift your hips to the left. As you inhale, draw your knees in, put that blanket between your legs and roll your knees to the right. Press your left shoulder to the floor as you take your right hand on the outside of your left knee. And just ease into the twist to meet your perfect edge, your perfect moment, right here, right now. A place of interest to inquire, investigate. That's the invitation, isn't it? To investigate. Life comes along, it happens. How we react or respond becomes our experience. We have choices, but only if we're recognizing what's happening, if we are accepting what's happening. And our action comes from awareness. What's needed now is the inquiry, can be the inquiry. So in this way, I'll stay quiet, and you have all the tools. You can rest with breath or simply in spacious awareness and let things arise and pass. In these last few moments, ask your body if it needs a little more or a little less. What's needed now? And to release your hand off the leg. Bring one knee up and then the other, and take the blanket out and shift your hips back to the center. Draw your knees into your chest and open your knees a little bit. And then just take a few breaths up and down the spine and the central channel. And for a moment or two, if the body needs any way to move, please allow it to respond before we take rest. So let the energy that's here, this moment that's here, show you what's needed. Maybe a stretch, or maybe it just simply transitions into rest. Perhaps something under your knees, something over you to cover yourself, perhaps something to cover your eyes. Really nice if you have it. And let the body splay out. The eyes gently close. And take 3 to 5 letting go breaths, which means a big breath in, and as you exhale, open the mouth, let it fall away. And as it falls away, any tension in the body begins to dissolve. And then you just rest. Breath finds its natural rhythm. And by, all tensions dissolve. You rest here in the arms of loving awareness, love itself. Everything's okay, just as it is, and so are you. Soham, 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 shivoham, soham, 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 shivoham, soham, soham. Soham Shivoham, Soham, Soham, Soham Shivoham. I am that I am. 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 As you hear the sound of the bell and sounds in the room, allow that to just invite you back just enough that you can deepen the breath, just enough that you can bring a hand to the heart and or the belly. And feel you here now. The effect of where you've been. And before we come up together, I'd like to share with you this poem by John Donahue. He said, "This is the time to be slow. Lie low to the wall until the bitter weather passes. Try as best you can not to let the wire brush of doubt scrape from your heart all sense of yourself in your hesitant light. If you remain generous, time will come, and you will find your feet again on fresh pastures of promise, where the air will be kind and blushed with beginnings." So now, bring your knees to your chest. Roll to one side. And come on up to sitting. And as you come to sitting, take your seat. Have your journal near you if you have one. And feel where you are now. Take a few breaths. Notice the quality in the mind and the body and the heart. And take a few moments to reflect on today's practice. And notice what stands out to you. What stands out? Any insights or awarenesses as we open to patience and inquiry, transformation? And then please go in a little bit deeper and ask there, given all that's happened here today and given my life, what is my knowing? What is my knowing as I step back in my life? What can I make space for or bring more love and tolerance and healing? And then take your pen and bring it to the paper. And as the words begin to arise in your mind, you can just write at the top, from the voice of wisdom, you can say, this is what I have to say to you. This is what you need to know. And then just let the words come. We'll take a half minute or so with that. You certainly continue on your own. Nothing to edit, just let it flow. And if it's silent, let there be silence. And then please let the pen come down and you can continue when we're finished. But take a moment to feel that message for you. What can change or transform Where will patience show up? And then let us just take a moment for gratitude. Gratitude for all that we have received. And then as we feel ourselves filled with blessings, take a breath. And as you exhale, send those blessings out to everyone and everything and everyone everywhere. 360 degrees. And we wish, may all beings everywhere know happiness and the root of happiness. May all be free of suffering and the root of suffering. May this touch everyone, omitting none. Please join me with the sound of Om. Take a breath in. Jai Bhagwan, namaste. Thank you for joining us. See you next week.